Ruslan Fayfer, campaigning at heavyweight these days. I'll describe this as heavyweight in professional boxing terms, which means it's above 200 pounds, which is roughly where the 92 kilo limit is for IBA boxing. Rishi described this as super heavyweight, just to make sure he differentiates it from IBA heavyweight. But these two pro fighters, they'll come in well north of 200 pounds. He used to be a cruiser fighter, boxing the World Boxing Super Series, but it's been up at heavyweight before, but certainly for his last few fights anyway.
And now, bring out his opponent to the ring, fighting out of the black corner, representing the United States of America, it's Kevin Johnson.
Well, Kevin Johnson has been around the block a good few times. Undefeated at 22-0-1 in late 2009. Challenged for a world title against Vitaly Klitschko. Went the distance. He's been the distance over 10 and 12 against Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Kubrat Pulev, Andy Ruiz, Daniel Dubois, Agit Kabayel. Had a big win a couple of years ago, stopping former World Cruiserweight champion Juan Pablo Hernandez in 7 rounds, and he's still going. Still giving people a good tussle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your co-main event of the evening. Your co-main event of the evening is proudly brought to you by Gold Caravan Travel Agency, sanctioned by the IBA in association with the UAE Boxing Federation for 7 3-minute rounds in a men's super heavyweight plus 92 kg division matchup. Your 5 judges being represented here tonight ringside from the IBA, Italy, Kyrgyzstan, Tunisia, the United Arab Emirates, and finally India. And when all the action begins, your man in the center of the ring, by the bell, representing the IBA by way of Estonia, with referee Jakov Pettersen.
Referee just seems to have a slight query about something here. I think that's been answered.
He stands 185 centimeters tall, weighing officially at 105.7 kgs. Дамы и господа, поприветствуем из Краснодар, Россия, Ruslan Fayfer! And now, introduce his opponent, fighting out of the black corner. This man stands 6'3", 192 centimeters tall, weighing officially at 115.3 kgs. Fighting out of Asbury Park, New Jersey, USA, presenting Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your co-main event of the evening. Our fighters are ready. Referee Jakov Pettersen will now be giving his final instructions to the boxers.
Okay, gentlemen, keep your heads up, no holding, no low blow. Listen to my commands and make a clean fight, okay? Shake hands. Good luck.
About 10 kilos between these two. Johnson outweighing Fayfer by 23, 24 pounds, something like that, so the best part of a couple of stone. The schedule for 7 rounds. That's Fayfer in the white and gold, Johnson in the black and gold, and Fayfer 4 wins, 4 defeats and a draw in his last 9. So things gone slightly off the rails after he went to 23-0. He's been in with some good fighters though. Andrew Tabiti was 1 in the World Boxing Super Series. Stopped in 6th by Alexei Papan in August 2020. In between times got a good win, winning the Eurasian Boxing Parliament Cruiserweight title against an undefeated Yuri Kaczynski. That's a proper title, the Eurasian Boxing Parliament title, if you're not totally familiar with it. Fayfer looking to try and start quick here. Johnson It's been in the away corner for a while now, but as I said, he does get some wins. Got a draw in his last fight in Germany. Fayfer has lost and drawn in his last 2. Last time I commentated on Johnson was against Martin Bacoli back in late 2019 in Newcastle in the UK. He got stopped in 5, and Bacoli only the 3rd person to stop him. Anthony Joshua and a fighter called Petr Milas, the other 2. And Bacoli did it basically by just staying on him and just hitting him with nice, quick, busy hands. He didn't look to try and load up on anything. He didn't look to try and land anything massive and take him out, because it's going to be very difficult to do that to somebody like him. But he just kept the work rate really high and was just chipping away. Nice, short, sharp, accurate punches. And in the end, the referee just stepped in, because he'll tuck up behind that shoulder, Johnson, as he is now. Get that chin in behind it. Look to try and ride punches, shuffle in, and see if he could get something done himself. And to be honest, it's difficult to see Fayfer making much of an impact on him here. He's got 7 rounds to do it. I would be surprised if he can. Fayfer's thrown the majority of the punches in this opening round, but as I say, none of them have really had any effect on Johnson. I just wonder if, as this goes down the stretch, if he'll begin to fancy it a little bit, because there's nothing to fear here from Fayfer for him, I don't think. And who knows what might happen if he just decides to try and get after him a little bit. Such a gloves between the two. Fayfer's won that opening round because he did more. Johnson staying on his feet. He's based over in Europe, has been for quite a long time, sometimes in the UK, sometimes in Germany, in Poland, around Eastern Europe. He's a hard man to kind of keep track of. But there you see him just tucking up nicely. And he could do that all night. It's just whether he decides, you know what, maybe tonight I could just give this a crack and see what happens. So into the second. Fayfer's got his weight quite heavily on that front foot when you look at him. Johnson just flicking that jab up from the waist. Decent looking jab, that. As I said, he's very, very experienced. Fayfer just kind of fencing his way forward with that lead left hand himself, and Johnson is being a bit more ambitious in this second round. I think he has had a look at Fayfer and just thought, you know what, I can do something here. Again, just looking to just plant that jab. He's not touching with it. He's looking to do some damage with it. Little feint there from Johnson. Fayfer just comes forward, lets his hands go. Nothing on those shots though, really, in relative terms anyway, up at heavyweight. Look at that jab again there, Johnson. Pfeiffer's got that high guard. A bit of body work from Johnson might be advisable. He carries those gloves. When he does pick them up like that, he carries them really high, Pfeiffer. Into the final minute of round 2. Switch to southpaw here, Pfeiffer. Now back to orthodox. Not much in this round. Jab caught by the gloves there of Pfeiffer. But as I say, he lifts those gloves right up. He can feint that jab or touch that jab to the gloves and just throw that right hand into the body there, Johnson. He just dips his knees a touch because it's absolutely wide open. So 2 down, this schedule for 7. 1 more to go after this. And we will see a reigning Olympic champion, another one in Bahadur Jalolov. As we look at some action from that second round. And Pfeiffer has just got to keep Johnson honest here. And to do that, he just has to keep the work rate high enough. That's basically what this is about. Doesn't want to let Johnson get some kind of wind in his sails, because if he does and he fancies going after the win, then I think Pfeiffer could be in a little bit of trouble potentially. Pfeiffer just leaning on, lets that left hand go. Felt like he was clipped around the back of the head there from Johnson. 1-2 there from Pfeiffer. But again, he just leans off to his right hand side. Half turns his back. He's really side on. He's difficult to hit there, Johnson. Then looks for that left hand into the body. And Pfeiffer just being busy enough here to keep his nose in front in the first minute of the round. At 43, Johnson just hasn't really got any, and this isn't a criticism, he hasn't really got any gears. They tend to go as you get older. He's just got the one pace, and Pfeiffer, as I said, just needs to keep him occupied. If he did have some gears, Kevin Johnson, then he could win this fight, and he could win it quite comfortably. Looks for the big uppercut off the ropes there, Johnson, just sinking into the ropes, and then he tried to fire a right hand down the middle as well. Pfeiffer chopping down with the right hand, then gets hold and looks to try and just walk him back. Into the final minute of round 3. There's that 1-2. He's landed that to reasonably good effect, Pfeiffer, a few times. He gets in nice and tight. He knows that Johnson is going to tuck up and just lift over to his right hand side a bit. Johnson just going after him there with the right hand. What he knows, Kevin Johnson, for absolutely certain, is that Ruslan Fayfer cannot hurt him.
Stop! Listen to me.
he's been in with some big bangers, and Ruslan Fayfer is not one of them. Nice right hand on the inside there from Johnson. Still a Fayfer round. Kept those hands on the go, as I recommended that he should. But just as he's doing there, he's not doing any damage to Johnson, but Johnson is just looking for the odd gap. As he sunk into the ropes there, that could be an interesting way forward for him. And that was right at the end of the round as he stepped in and looked to just shoot that right hand down the middle. So into the fourth, Ruslan Fayfer in the white and gold, Kevin Johnson in the black and gold. You look at the fighters that Johnson's been in with down the years, it's a bit of a who's who. It's been the distance with almost all of them. That world title fight against Vitaly Klitschko 13 years ago, at the age of 30. He's been a professional almost 20 years, Johnson. Good right hand counter there from Fayfer. Just a little look down at the canvas there from Johnson. I'm not absolutely sure why. And stoops and jabs to the body. They're just asking for the right hand from Johnson. I can understand why. He's working that left most of the time. A little bit short with a jab. Doubling up on the left hand there was Fayfer. The second one just about got to the target midway through round 4. Stepped in and looked to tee up the backhand there, Johnson, but Fayfer just scurried out of range. Good upper body movement there from the Russian. And again, a decent combination from Fayfer, who is described as doing what he needs to do here. He's expected to win this fight going into it at 27 wins, 4 defeats and 1 draw, but the record has been a bit patchy, as I described in recent times. He boxed a fighter called Shigabudin Aliyev in October last year. Aliyev 9-0. Drew the first fight over 10, then they rematched in March and he got stopped in 6, so any kind of stoppage defeat is always going to take some getting over. Just looking to hook off the jab there, Johnson. Every now and again he shows us a little flash of ambition, but Fayfer, for the most part, taking care of business here. He's not ever really looked in any trouble, Ruslan Fayfer. But this is going to go the distance. It would be very surprising if it didn't. passionate expression on Johnson's face as he stands in that black corner. Up to my right-hand side, on the other side of the ring, Fayfer with those legs just stretched out nice and long, which is exactly what you should do. Let those arms drop, stretch your legs out. As long as you can, it just gets the blood circulating, the oxygen circulating around the body as effectively as possible. Just looking for that right hand there again, Johnson. He can see it, he just can't land it. And again, that's something that happens to fighters as they head further and further down the track. He's 43 now. They can see the punches, they just can't quite pull the trigger on them. Fayfer with a left hand there on the inside. Johnson just occupying Fayfer with a jab there. Again, just climbs into that long right hand. The jab is the most effective punch for Johnson. Right hand just sends a bit of sweat spraying off Johnson's head there from Fayfer. Heading into the final minutes of round 5. 2 more to go after this. Again, just trying to put his punches together there, Fayfer, but Johnson, as he manages to do always, is not an easy man to tag hard and clean. Johnson looking for the little left hook on the inside there. He took the space that Fayfer offered him. Just getting to work towards the end of the round a bit there, Johnson. Touch of gloves, 2 to go here. It's a professional contest at heavyweight. 105 kilos, Fayfer, 115 for Johnson. And there's that kind of shell that he tucks himself up into, and even that left hand that lands, you can see the feet are just moving back, so very, very little lands on him full force. He basically never gets caught with a punch as he's coming forward, which doubles the impact. Those are the ones that can really put you away, and he's not in that kind of mode. He's not getting onto the front foot, really going after fights and putting himself at risk of getting hit with that kind of shot. I did wonder if he might just begin to fancy this a little bit after the first round or so, but Fayfer has done enough, as I described it earlier, to keep him honest. A little bit more energy about Johnson in this 6th round so far, just looking to try and let his hands go a bit more. Just creeping in with that front foot. Fayfer leads off with a left hook. Flicking that jab there, Johnson. Fayfer just makes him give a little bit of ground. Jab just caught on the gloves there from Fayfer. And this round resembling most of the rounds that we've seen so far. Johnson just getting through this pretty easily. Fayfer, I think, doing the right thing as well though, because the only way that this could really go wrong for him would be if he was greedy here, was trying to look to stop somebody who, to be honest with you, when you look at the record that he's got, Johnson Fayfer's not capable of stopping. He doesn't have that kind of power. So heading towards the final 30 seconds of this 6th round, and it'll be another Fayfer round because he's been the busier of the two. Decent looking left hand there from Fayfer. Came off the back of the right. Right hand there from Johnson right towards the end of the round. Just touched Fayfer up a bit as he came forward. Strong jab that from Johnson. He's still got that in his locker. We've seen that throughout the course of the fight. Every now and again he can just really plant it down the middle. So 1 to go in this 7-rounder. Ruslan Fayfer's probably won every round so far. Johnson is doing what he does, what he's been doing for a while, getting through the rounds, through the contest. So a touch of gloves between the 7th, between the two of them, between the two fighters ahead of this 7th and final round. Ruslan Fayfer in the white and gold, coming into this one with 27 wins, 4 defeats and 1 draw. Won the Russian heavyweight title back in 2015, but then campaigned at cruiser, then back up at heavyweight in recent times. You can see that, quite honestly, he's not really a heavyweight. Or rather, he's quite a small heavyweight. Johnson, 35 wins, 21 defeats, 2 draws, but we mentioned the kind of company that he's mixed in, and he's chosen to keep going in these later years to stay in the ring, earning a living. Good use of the jab there from Johnson. To let his hands go on the right hand side of the ring there, Fayfer. The uppercut was just slightly short. But Johnson again just doing a good job there of tucking up. Just a minute to go here. Johnson's corner just telling him that. Fayfer just backs off, gets up on his toes, maybe looking to try and finish this with a little bit of a flourish as we head into the final 30 seconds. Johnson just letting go that left hand. And there goes the bell. So that'll be a win for Ruslan Fayfer. We'll see if he gets anything on the judges' scorecards. Kevin Johnson, that is. I would imagine he probably won't. He's still got that jab, Johnson. Flicks it up from the waist. Uses that to keep his opponent nice and occupied. Fayfer, that was a spell where he had him on the ropes, but you just look at him slipping and rolling there, Johnson, and he uses that left shoulder really well, just tucks his chin in behind it, and very, very little clean or hard, certainly, clean and hard, gets through on him. And that's the art, that's the science if you're boxing out of that away corner. I'd imagine this will be his final fight of the year. But if one were to open up for him next Saturday, he could take it. He's got through this one. So one more fight remaining. That will be in the super heavyweight division, the IBA Pro Series. Bakir Jalolov, one of the rising stars in world boxing, whichever way you look at it. He's up against Stanis Latipov, Russian born now, boxing for Bahrain. And there's history between those two as well. They met in the Asian qualifier for the Olympics, and Jalolov got the win. He hasn't lost over the 3-round format since 2017, which is what that fight was over. 5 rounds for those two tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, your co-main event of the evening comes to a close right here at your IBA Champions Night. After completing 7 3-minute rounds in a men's super heavyweight plus a 92 kg matchup. However, before we go to the scorecards, we'd like to kindly invite a special guest, our beloved VIP. He is the founder and CEO of Hardcore FC, Hardcore Boxing, Hardcore MMA, and Hardcore Management, the world's largest brand on YouTube for the distribution of the field of martial arts. Please help me welcome from Russia, Mr. Anatoly Sulyanov. Ladies and gentlemen, after reaching a verdict, Mr. Anatoly Sulyanov will be giving his award for the undisputed men's super heavyweight IBA championship title. Alongside your winner will also win $30,000 on behalf of Mr. Umar Kremlev, and your follow-up winner will win $20,000. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we go to our scorecard. After completing 7 3-minute rounds in a men's super heavyweight plus 92 kg matchup, all your judges see it the same way, ruling in favor of your winner by points, declared by unanimous decision. To the goal corner, дамы и господа, поприветствуем из Krasnodar, Россия, Ruslan.
So Ruslan Fayfer gets it, and in accordance with the rest of the fights we've seen tonight, he'll be presented with a belt and a check for $30,000 US. 20,000 goes to Kevin Johnson, so a very worthwhile evening for the pair of them. And Fayfer got it by unanimous decision. He'll have won every round on the judges' scorecards. I don't have any doubt about that. And as I said, one more fight remaining now. Always good to see Jalolov. But Latipov could show us something here too, I think. Speaking to his coach earlier today, he's made some big strides, some real improvements. Young man at 22. They fancy him to give Jalolov a run here, which not many people managed to do.